And hey there, my name is Donovan. I'm just going to go ahead and record a little replay analysis for my casual pickup team-ish. Yeah, you'd call it a pickup team. Just some friends playing the casual league together. We've been struggling to get a good time for everybody to do replay analysis, so I figured I would just record a little video and upload it. Make it a little easier on everybody to watch it at their leisure. I am having a hairy head. Having a hairy head. I'm going to go through this really quickly, nothing too crazy. I will start with not too in-depth on the draft, because honestly, I'm not the best with this. When it comes to like a team on this level of coordination, I tend to just lean into picking what people are comfortable playing that's generally good in the situation. As far as what's generally good, damage, CC, team fight, you know. Right now we have Gyro and Egg, which speaks to me that we want some AoE CC for this Phoenix. Gyro is just a stable carry. He's just going to chill, do his thing. He's going to press E and auto attack people. But in my head, we want some AoE CC. We want to secure our team fight a bit better. That's what part of what goes into my pick, which ends up being the last pick for our team. I do end up saying we should get some sort of AoE CC to help our team a little bit. Phoenix is our offlaner here. And at this point, you know, they have good damage. They have okay team fight-ish between the catch of the Tusk SD and the Requiem and Broodmother, you know, having her free pathing being annoying for us to deal with. I would say ours is better if we have like good catches with Ice Path. I suppose I could have gone. I end up asking for Dawnbreaker. Something else I could have done. It's like kind of a defensive thing, because I find for this stack of players, I I need to fill a lot of roles. I need to both. I need to be there, but I need to also be like map pressuring. I need to be getting net worth. I need to be strong, and it's difficult to constantly to have to direct people on like a micro level, which is like I typically don't like to do at all. I typically prefer macro calls. So the hero Dawnbreaker is like a little bit easier for me because I see they have this Tusk SC SF Brood. I know they're gonna want to be like having some running around killing shit. They don't have a particularly good team fight, but their pick off and side lanes is pretty strong. So I figured Dawnbreaker, when we're playing defensively around the map, I could just be there. I could be strong, knowing to deal with. Having that in the back of their heads always me coming in with an ult, and it also gets a bit more AoE CC for the Phoenix Egg. So I figure why not? Let's go a little bit of a Dawnbreaker here. I don't remember what they last pick for their safe lane. Brood ended up being off lane here for them.
Juggernaut.
They picked some Juggernaut, yeah. Dawnbreaker also had the added benefit of being BKB piercing CC, which was another good thing. I mean, we had Clock too, but you know, it's many little things are nice, little beneficial. Both teams doing early smoke here. Pretty standard these days. Quick early smoke, lay down wards, see what we can find. For me, I'm pretty confident that we have a better team fight as long as we don't get isolated by shards. Dual Breath is a really powerful level 1 tool. Cogs is a pretty powerful level 1 tool. Even Phoenix W is not so bad. Gyro can be useful. My W, like we have a lot of AoE, a lot of damage, and and we make it hard for them to hit us. So I'm feeling pretty confident we win first blood fights here, as long as we take it properly. Start with our ward. Nothing too crazy. I think Tusk may have scattered us out a little bit, but it's chill. He ended up putting a ward down. Did we see the Tusk? We did. We saw that Tusk was up there. Not necessarily doesn't necessarily force us to call a ward there. Like, hey, they have a ward. We don't necessarily know that, so I won't say much about that. Actually, wait a minute. We did see him, right? Oh, okay. No, we just knew that we broke. We didn't actually ever see them. I was gonna say that would have been an issue on our part. Oh, I love this bug. We just go for our rune, nothing crazy. We have cogs, so I don't mind us going for that play, because even if their team runs up, we can just cogs and run away, and we'll probably be able to get some distance, which did end up happening. They do a little bit of an over chase on Radiant, end up running up to our high ground, and Jakiro and I make it back over. I animation cancel a bit and walk with them to make sure I get the first blood, which sets me up for an early bottle, which is really quite nice. SF also lost some HP and some mana in that, which is good for me. I do a nice chip right there. That was really big. And I know he wants to walk up for this range creep, so my response should often be just to walk up and hit him. I even should have done it a bit sooner, but I did it eventually anyways. Maybe he was baiting a response because he did also walk back. I walk back a bit. I also click on him right away to aggro this melee creep off to make this not die to one raise, so he has to auto it, which gives me more time to do some more damage. That being said, I'm not going to actually focus too much on my laning. More on like the... I'll look a bit more at top lane, and then focus more on macro after that. So let's first go back to a bit earlier in the lane. So on Radiant, they're going to want to get the Brood what they can. They have a losing lane between a Jakiro and a Gyro. Gyro should definitely have leveled the skill there, probably his W. I think they can do more damage to that Brood for sure, and chipper some. Because with Gyro, you either QW or E. You know, you use your level 1 spell. Obviously. You almost always only want your E if you're against like an Enigma or something similar, where they have units for you to kill. Or if it's like a lane you can't walk up at all. But when you're hard winning a lane, you don't want to level your E because you're going to shove the lane a little bit more than you want to. And sometimes it's useful to have a creep advantage in shoving them and to be up on XP. But you know, in a lane where it's even, or you might be even losing a bit. But in this case, you're winning the lane. You want the maximum pressure on a single hero. So you're either going to level your Q or your W. In that situation, I think he could have leveled his Q early, and they could have just done a lot more chip right there. And he's full mana anyways. Just throw out the spell. You know, it'll help Jakiro do some damage too. So throw out the spell. Use the mana. No need to hold a spell for anything here. Yeah, leveling E is very useless in this lane for level 1. Tusk is going to do what Tusk does. He wants to cut the wave. If they had punished Brood a bit more earlier, it would have been mostly fine. I mean, he's probably going to get that off. You know, they run into Brood at the same time he ran at the wave, I believe. Yeah, so not much you can really do about that. The big thing to keep in mind is, did we block this camp? I think we body blocked that camp. When they're going to be pulling shit like that, it's fine to let to keep your camps up. Also, our Jakiro should have had more sentries. I don't know whether there's a sentry in the lane. Throwback to when Brood was invisible on the webs. Definitely this needs to be unblocked, because when the camps are alive, it's much harder to pull the wave, or at the very least to hit the timing that they want. If you do pull the wave, you can't go by here, because all you have to do is aggro one of the waves, and the creep wave gets caught, or aggro one of the camps, and the creep wave gets caught on the camp. And then they have to pull it like way around, which fucks up the timing a little bit, makes it weird. Another thing to keep in mind is, let's see what the Gyro did with the wave before when it got dragged. So yeah, the Gyro pulled the wave through the tower, which you absolutely don't do in this situation. If you don't have any camps to play with, because you can even pull your own wave into a camp to just get more net worth that way. But you would drag it around instead, and that way both waves would kill each other, and both teams would lose the same amount of net worth. Something you can also do on Jakiro here, potentially, if you feel up to it, is just run over there and work on getting XP and gold yourself. In a lot of games, it can be quite dangerous to do so, but against level 1 Tusk Brood, I think it's like going to be fine, even with Brood being level 2. because all they have is the Q to run you down, and you have your Ice Breath, so you should be fine. Also, Stick is not a good purchase here because there's not going to be a lot of them casting spells on you. It's better to just have Mango's sentries to contest camps and shit like that. Let's go back a bit to see what Gyro did after this wave. Also, you almost never buy a wand early on support, and even on core, it's overbought for sure. You don't the recipe for the slot, especially because like you have plenty of slots right now. You don't need the wand. You know, the exception of like maybe Bristle or something. You need to walk up a bit more aggressively there on the support. You guys aren't really afraid of anything. You're both full HP. You got spell. I assume you'll have a Q if they use spells on you. Yeah, with Stick. Like they're not gonna win a fight there. So don't be walking so far back. You guys lost the range creep because you both were playing back when like they're not gonna try to fight you. And if they do, you guys win the trade. 100%. Focus on CSing more. Like you can't lose free lists like that. Again, we're giving up this camp for no reason. Jakiro should be in position. Or not the camp, the shrine, for no reason. Jakiro should be in position. There's no reason to be playing way over here right now. You're blocking the camp, but you want you don't mind the camp being alive. And even then, even if it's just like one wave. Because like you have a gyro. If some weird wave pulling shenanigans happens, you actually just farm it between the two of you. They can't contest you. You don't want to give this up for nothing too. I think that's like the third courier Tusk is killed. Yeah, using third skill against in a lane like this is like it's not good. You shove it into them and make it harder for your team to control the wave, which in a lane where you're already winning, again, miss last hit is like really bad. Another thing to consider buying too against a Brood in a lane like this is Quelling Blade. I missed last hit again. Really got to focus on those. They built up. If you're missing one or two a wave, that's a lot of money. You can consider buying Quelling Blade in a lane specifically like this, where you have such a strong oppressive lane against a hero like Brood. You could buy it on both heroes, and if you remove the ability to play with Tree Line, it can be like a little annoying for them. That's more of like a not necessarily necessary thing, but it can make your game just like easier to play. Another deny. Hit the range creep if nothing else too. You don't have to wait for the rocket to go through the sky because it's slower. But you guys, yeah, they're just getting way too many denies and getting way too many creeps. Like 4 may seem like a low number, but you've also missed a lot too on the gyro. Okay, I think that's going to be the gist of it. In summary, focus much more on CSing. And when the enemy has like such a weak lane, don't be afraid to position aggressively in the wave. Don't shove the wave into them when they're hard losing a lane matchup. You know, and work on decision making for like camps and pulling and keeping camps alive when it's actually fine to do so. We'll move forward a bit. Okay, so now Brood's level 6, so we have to be a little bit more careful. When Dawn is up, they probably can't duo kill you, because if Tusk rolls on you on the gyro, Dawnbreaker ults and then we're chilling. Otherwise, you do need to be careful on gyro. You also need to get an observer ward up here to see what's going on if you're going to keep playing the lane. You can just buy one yourself or ask for one. Let's see. Like you're positioning like extremely aggressive when like you don't know where people are. Tusk hadn't shown for a while, SF hadn't shown for a long time, Brood was missing. Even if like SF isn't there, you're gonna get giga chunked by Brood here probably. Dawnbreaker doesn't have ult because we went bottom. So gotta be much more considerate of what's occurring. So here, at this point, when you're playing against Brood at this stage of the game, it's 100. You 100% don't touch, or you don't care about the heroes. You just want to kill the spiders as much as possible. Walking up here is like useless, and once again, you're playing up here without a ward, where it's like and you don't have your E either anymore. So if Brood walks up on you, like you feel forced to cast your ult to kill the spiders, which is difficult to do. If you do it like from fog, it's one thing. Maybe you can like catch her by surprise, slow the spiders, and then kill it with your ult E. But otherwise, you just want to chill back and farm and wait for her to go for a tower, then try to snipe her things really quickly. You still have no observer too, which means at any point people could show up. You haven't seen their support for a while, and why wouldn't they come up? Dawnbreaker has no ult still, which we know, and dead again. If you're playing gyro in this position and you haven't bought yourself a ward, the only time you should be anywhere near this, the only time you should be in the lane itself is if you're like defending tower with an E up here. Otherwise, you don't want to be anywhere in here because it's so easy for them to roam on you. It makes no sense to play here. Also, there's only like one camp in this part of the map plus wave. It's just, and if Brood is taking it and holding the wave over here, it doesn't matter. You want to keep your tower alive as long as possible. In my mind, when I think of like what is a Brood counter in the early mid game, it's just anything that keeps your towers alive, anything that can kill her spiderlings. For that, here we have not the best spells, but not the worst. A few auto attacks from Gyro can potentially kill them, or at least scare her off. I'd say it's even worth throwing out ults, because your whole job this game, in the early game, all we want you to do is just be strong in the lane, come out ahead, and then just slow down Brood's tempo on taking towers. Because as soon as while she's limited to this one tower, she gets these two camps in wave. As soon as she kills this tower, she gets these 3 camps and these 2 camps, and maybe even more. And it's easy for the ward. Keeping this tier 1 tower alive for as long as possible is very, very important. If you get jumped here when we have no spells to help you with, we can't do anything. But if you get jumped here, we can TP in, we can if our spells are up, we can help you. Because if you get jumped here, I don't want to ult you, even if you do. Because we're going to be alone, they're probably just going to run away. But if you get jumped here, a support can TP, I can ult off of that, and then we can actually have potential to kill something. So definitely a big thing so far is like positioning in this like 6 to 10 minute mark, plus buying an observer ward. Chain dying for free against like a Brood or anybody just gives free gives up a lot of pressure. Because up until these deaths, we were doing pretty good until these 3 deaths top we just got. It was 9 to 4 if these things hadn't occurred, which none of them should have. The Clockwork also shouldn't have died here. I don't think there was any point to, yeah. At this point, it's obvious the tower is going to die. And you see the SD. Yeah, it's just not thinking about consequences there. Brain off moment type thing, I think. Gyro at this point looks like he's aiming for tri-lane. Doesn't want anything to do with Brood. At this point, might be the way. In a better world where the lane was played more properly, Brood would be like 2 levels down on Gyro, and like would have a level 6 at like 9-10 minutes instead of like 6 minutes. Maybe that's a bit exaggerated, but along those lines of like much slower tempo, much lower net worth, slower subsequent items would have been easier for Gyro. You could even just get like a Chrysalis or something wild like that if you want to like secure being able to like 2-shot spiders. I think that might secure it barely, not sure. But as soon as you can like 2-shot spiders, you're like feeling like really good on the Gyro as far as defending against Brood goes. Let's see. Jakiro definitely needs to max 3rd skill. And the benefit of that too is that you guys can take bot tower much easier with Phoenix. Once you're done with top on Jakiro, because you don't want to be up there forever. You want to get like level 5, get your level 3 in your liquid fire, and then go pressure towers with Phoenix. And then you would only go back top if we were making like some sort of defensive or aggressive play specifically. But after you get like a level 5, and after that part of the landing stage is over, you just place a ward down if your gyro hasn't already, and then you just you look for tower pressure. That's going to be your job after like 8-9 minutes. Gyro having these early deaths puts us in an awkward spot where now we don't really have anybody to deal with Brood. Between the Brood getting more out of lane than they should have, and then the bonus kills on him. Because ideally you can just send 1 hero, or 1 or 2, and you can do other shit. I think this bot tower should already be dead at this point, which would have made it easier, theoretically, to... Again, missing free last hits, which would have made it easier to make this play of sending Phoenix top, but right now it feels weird. We've lost, like, if nothing else, it should be a trade for towers, but even potentially we can potentially take bottom without losing our top, and if we'd done that, we would have been in a really nice spot. It's hard right now to take towers, because we don't have a Jakiro 3rd skill maxed. And Phoenix doesn't really... She doesn't... I don't know if she hates laning against Brood, but she doesn't want to. We want Phoenix to play in a more aggressive position. Because ideally, Brood should be very weak right now. I call a group on mid tower. Because we have the rune and we're decently strong and I want to make something happen. As long as we don't overcommit to anything, even if we just force them to rotate, it's good. Because as soon as we force them to rotate, that leaves side lanes vulnerable. Which means we can go after Brood or we can go after the other one, Juggernaut, and I can ult into my teammates to back them up. So as soon as we force rotations mid, we're like, alright, good. I have to ult here, my guy's about to die. We missed the hook shot, unfortunately. Which is really unlucky. I think he ends up getting away due to that. And we just used Phoenix and Dawn ults, which is very unfortunate. I think at this point we see Tusk and I play on aggro on mid tower again, which is because it's already low. Typically you wouldn't really do that after using both your team fight ults, but the tower's low, so it doesn't really matter. I throw out some spells here. I don't actually think we're going to kill him. I don't have any damage after that, and we don't have our hook shot. But I do some chip. 14 minutes is coming soon. I don't want to give them our thing. Our also gyros over there, so. I run over to try and get these kills. Why did we not... Let's see. So this is on cooldown. We see Jug and Tusk. I mean, yeah, just not paying attention again. Also, something you can do is just hook shot away, worst case. But in general, just like gotta watch your hero. These free kills when they're like struggling are really bad to give. He's top net worth. I wouldn't even say he's struggling, even before that kill. But yeah. Free little kills like that, that's it's happened several times now. It's just gotta think about, like, they want to kill you. You know, you're, you know, Omni Slash strong, they want to kill you, it's net worth, they're not gonna hold it. It's not like baiting a spell in this situation. You know, it's not like we can go Roche right after Omni Slash is used. So I've got to keep that in mind. At this point we finally took some towers on the other side of the lanes. It feels a bit less bad to have Phoenix cover the Brood now. Clockwork should not be the one top. It's an aggressive hero. We want Clockwork to be ready to be active on the map. Some kills here. Not bad. We had a good ward down and scattered them and they didn't deward it, so get some free kills. At this point, somebody needs to be covering bot wave. Ideally, it's Gyro farming that part of the map, and I'm playing around mid. And then we have an observer or a support standing near Gyro, if we're not doing anything aggressive, to catch smokes. Phoenix does whatever top by himself. We have hookshot up, so we should ideally try to do some sort of thing. I think I was calling for us to go on Jug, or somebody was calling for us to go on Jug when we saw him up. But, missed hookshot, but it looks like it's not going to matter this time. Get a little kill. I give the wave to Gyro and I TP mid. I don't want to take anything from him. He needs to be strong. With how our early game went, the net worth should be completely reversed. Our Gyro should be top 2 net worth. I probably would remain top 3, not necessarily top 2. But we've been like struggling really hard to apply pressure. I think one of their heroes, you know, we can't stop every hero from farming, especially with a Brood. So one of their heroes is going to be probably top 3, whether it's SF or Jug. But we should have 2 of the top 3 slots for sure. Gyro should be top 2. And Brood should be like down here where Gyro is right now, if not worse off. But talking about what should be isn't really useful. Better to talk about what we can do from here on. So we see Brood has gone pipe or a build. Which makes it a good chunk harder for Phoenix to defend the tower. Though not impossible. They have an observer behind our tower, presumably. Yeah, over there. So they saw Phoenix, they go on him. Not really much we can do to stop that. Were we smoking before or after they got gone on? Okay, yeah, we're smoking to our Brood, or our Phoenix. Unfortunately, they die while we're en route. Not much that you can do about that. We look around here to see if we can find anything. I think looking is fine. Gotta be careful not to overdo it. I feel like we fucked this up. Watch this again. Oh, we didn't use cogs. We just didn't use cogs. That's right. We also should have queued earlier on Jakiro, but I don't think that mattered. We just didn't cogs. I'm not sure why not. I guess they were trying to look for more, but kill the guy you have first. Once I use my WQ, my damage is much smaller. So we wasted our time there. While they were getting net worth, we were not. I think they just gave us this. Yeah, I mean, SS just walks up, and I'm like, hey, we can go. So we go. Phoenix TPs to back us up. I missed my W even a little bit, but it's no big deal. Good cogs. As long as we back each other up here, we're good to go. I'm worried about Omni Slash here a little bit. I didn't know where he was, and then we indeed get Omni Slash. We hookshotted a creep, I think, on the side. Which is unfortunate. If we had had hookshot here, we could probably have gone on and killed the Jug. No, actually, I would say we for sure can kill Jug there if we have hookshot. And it lands with cogs. In the meantime, we lose top tower. Gyro should definitely be defending that. He's not coming to this fight at all, so he should be looking at that defense. It's a pipe brood. She doesn't do anything. If you walk out of the fog and just press your WE, you kill the wave and probably creeps at this point before they can get off screen. So should for sure have been defending that on Gyro instead of farming. Alright, we lose a tier 2 now for free. Unfortunate. When I'm playing carry myself, my farming pattern is there's like two decisions. It's like what is going to accelerate me the most, and there's also what's going to help us win the most. Typically, which is farm in such a way that slows them down or stops them, their progression. And that was one of those moments where it's like you're not even losing net worth because you're TPing to like a lane that's shoved in and a bunch of camps. And then also you're stopping the brood from taking towers, making their map smaller. Because that makes this whole part of the map pretty much off limits for us, or very difficult to find. Because if this brood wasn't to this level, but like a really good brood player will even have spiderlings around scouting out, and makes it really difficult to play. And now brood can do shit like this. Like yes, I can QW the wave, but I need to be making aggressive plays. It was Gyro who was supposed to be defending at this point for the brood who was this build. It's one thing if it's like some jacked brood with like Orchid or something. Even then, you can probably defend under the right circumstances if you're able to kill the spiderlings quickly enough. But just like a pipe brood is no fear. There's nothing, no reason to be afraid. Now it's like I feel like I have to be the one to defend this shit, even though I really don't want to be up here. Probably should have just W'd right away to try to get the spiderlings. WQ'd right away. I see an SF for a brief flash, I think, but I have a big charge rune. So I think I was trying to bait, but that was not right. Walk away. I have ult, so we can potentially go again. We have Phoenix behind. Our Phoenix went a little bit too ham. And because of that, we get a little fucked. I want to see what the hook shot was used on. Oh yeah, they used it to get on in there initially. What was the ice buff on Kulan? Oh, from us fighting here. And just a bit overzealous here. Just so overestimated the strength of their hero. And then we get team wiped, and now the game is extremely hard. They're probably going to get Torm too. You just overestimated the strength of your hero. It'd be one thing if it wasn't like a jug there, but it's a jug, you know. At this point, it's a little spooky because the biggest reason this game is spooky for me, from my perspective, like while I'm playing, is our gyro is still really poor. So we have to there's no. It's difficult to play around any idea or concept because at this point now, unless they mess up, we lose team fights as well as pickoffs after our recent debacle. So we can only look for like small weird fights where they happen to fuck up. And they are split up. They end up giving us one, but they didn't have to. Oh, actually, does he get out? That's funny. The rage. So they gave us a fight without Jug. They didn't need to, and they shouldn't have, but they did. Let me go back and see how this even started. I just ran bottom. The objective was already gone. I just went for wave. They just started to fight on us. Oh, and also missed. Okay. At this point in the game, it's kind of up to their team. We no longer have control. It's up to their team to make mistakes, which is what ended up happening here. We no longer have really a say in who wins. They need to make mistakes like this fight repeatedly for us to have a good shot. We end up running directly to Roche afterwards. I mean, we called a Roche because we're on that part of the map all together. Might as well go for the objective. Typically, I wouldn't want to buy a Deso on my Dawnbreaker here. There are, other options I'd rather have. From like AC to BKB. BKB would have been nice to have against SF. It's almost necessary, you could even say. But unfortunately, we were in the position it felt like where that doesn't help us win. Instead, like having more damage would be useful to try and burst people. There's Omni Slash down. With Omni Slash down, Jug doesn't really want to fight. We have Aegis. It's probably good to call for some sort of smoke play to see if we can catch anything, or go for an objective, such as a tower, which might be what is called, considering we're running forward in 2 lanes. It's rough we don't have a bots hero and that I'm the one with Aegis. I should be running forward. I shouldn't. I run back because of the wave. I tell my team to be the ones to play forward. But ideally, like, I'm there too. I have a Deso. I mean, my gyro is there, which should be some decent tower damage. You'd hope. We appear to be a little afraid to fight. I think we should be more bold right now while there's no Omni Slash, which I told my team to play up there, but we were pretty slow with it. hard to catch with no vision and their heroes. So I'm pretty sure I just said go push, and I circled the map. We waste a lot of time looking for brood, which at this point, like, hunting for brood doesn't really do a whole lot of much when our goal is the tower. At this point, their spells are up almost, and we call for a back. I avoid a gank because they've been gone for a while, and shit's coming up. We don't really do much of anything with Aegis, besides deny it at the end of the day. We still don't have BKB on Gyro. We opted for a Satanic, which I'm not sure is right or wrong. We find Brood here a little bit. We miss a hookshot again. Get the Brood. Once again, we're gonna try for buildings. I'm okay here. Get a big reaction, which does get us a kill. They do stop our momentum. Gyro hangs out too long down there. I call for my team to run directly to him right after this play because I notice where he's vulnerable right now. He's running away, and then I look away. Then he starts running back into their team. He runs into Gyro, or into SF, and immediately dies. It's against this Kayasha shit too, so I can't even ult to save him. That death was unfortunate because now we don't get that tower pressure we were hoping for. Team still is up though. Should be backing. Shouldn't be running in like that. I back us up a little bit, but this is not the right play to be here right now. Because because Juggernaut's about to 1v5 our team. We got really unlucky bounces there, though, I will say. But yeah, this is not a good play. Jeez. Unfucking lucky. We lose the fight no matter what, though. It was just too much to do. We were getting a little panicked. We shouldn't go for that play there. When Juggernaut could be there. Juggernaut's at a really strong phase in the game right now because we don't have any way to deal with his Omni Slash on me, and I'm a strong part of our team fight. Clock is vulnerable too. Chikuro less so. Phoenix can egg, so it's not like the end of the world for him. And dive. But I'm a bit weak to it. Gyro ideally can just Satanic through it, between the Sunray as well. Max damage, max heal 2%. We should probably maybe have Shard. I'm not 100% sure how strong that is. Whether it's worth getting earlier on. I don't think Gleipnir is very useful for the Phoenix here, because typically us getting kills is more like we have my Harpoon, we have ult, we have W. I don't think we should be relying on the Phoenix getting CC. So I think a different item probably would have been better. Whether that's Radiance or like a Hex or Auras or whatever a Phoenix really builds. Usually I don't really see too much of it. It's like Shivas and then they just get tanky, which is fine. You know, it could have been like a Heart, whatever. But I don't think Gleipnir is super useful. It does add a bit of tank, but I don't think it's just that important. Not worth the net worth slot, I think. Not really much else to say. Like I said before, we're kind of just having to hope they make mistakes at this point. BKB Gyro is our final timing. Our final realistic timing, unless we want to keep stretching out the game. But really, we're on a timer because they're out networthing us by quite a bit, and they're only gonna have more and more map control. We're gonna have less and less. They're gonna get up to like hexes, refreshers, and shit, and it's gonna be really difficult to deal with. Between everything their sports will have, like we're gonna need like a nullifier soon. It's quite annoying to deal with. Our team is looking for a kill. I'm trying not to die. I think I made the call to play around Roche because we don't want to give it the pits. So this is not the worst way a fight could start. Tusk is in ahead of his team and dies instantly. We see Jug here. The Gyro like runs away from us to solo tank the Omni Slash instead of sharing it with us, which means he dies instead of living, which is not good because Phoenix can take a few hits and then egg, which is fine. But as soon as Gyro dies like that, we have lost the fight. It's gonna be hard no matter what. It's a difficult fight. Let's see, did we know where SF was? So we don't know where SF is in this fight, I'm pretty sure. So realistically, like, it's rough anyways, and we probably lose. Because if we don't know where SF is, we should assume he's ready to fight at the Roche objective. And at any point, he could just, like, BKB Blink Hex the Gyro anyways, and he's get fucked. He should have still split the Omni Slash with us, but it was, again, one of those situations where it's like, it's their mistake to make. Here I have to BKB, because I see SF coming in, and I can know he can Blink Hex me, so I just BKB TP. And that's game. Pretty much. It's a rough one. I think we just lose another fight if we don't just GG. Maybe we take one more fight. But now they have Aegis. SF is presumably he's going dataless. He does die. They die on both heroes, but the game ends shortly after. We're not able to get much more off of it. We've lost our timings, and we're just waiting for the enemy to make mistakes, which is fine to do. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with playing for your enemy to make mistakes when you're in that position, but it only works for so long. If they wisen up. Because realistically, it's very difficult for us to stop them. He goes dataless, which I think is probably a mistake on SF. I get the idea with the 25 talent. It's quite a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. But I think just double Requiem. We don't have any saves right now. Besides Egg. Double Requiem on this Gyro could be pretty strong. I mean, the raise shit works too, though. Don't get me wrong. And it's good damage. Obviously, they didn't need anything else. I ended up getting caught. How did I get caught? And for what reason? Oh no, they go on our supports, and then SF does the Blink Hex BKB on me. Which, you know, Fog Hex is difficult to deal with when you go to back your team up. I mean, I know he could be there ready to do that, but I also don't want to just like BKB for that guy there. I could maybe ult right after I get feared, but he also has Banish. That would at least keep me up a little longer though. I want to see if my team could have potentially helped me there. Not really. But yeah. We keep trying to help and we die on other heroes. Jara tries cutting, which is fine. Huh. They get megas. I'm here, I'm spamming Hex because I know they want to go on the guy. We still managed to not get him somehow. And then the game is over. So here, summary I would say is just going to be probably just like think about what, like as an individual player for our team, think about like what you want to do and what they want to do and then execute on it. In top lane, it was you want to keep camps alive, both of them, if all you're doing is chain pulling. You can even keep their camp alive because like they should not be able to contest you in a 2v2 fight if your carry's backing you up and your support's backing you up. And you can even just aggro the wave yourself if you need to on Jakiro. At the very least, you always want your small camp to be alive, or at least contested with sentries. Buying a whole wand is useless. Even a stick is probably not very worth it in a lane like that, where you're only going to be dealing with occasional tusk spells. I think there was like one charge that was gained up until like 4 minutes into the game, so it's just not really useful. It would have been better to have more mana sustain. Gyro, don't level third skill level 1. Be more aggressive with like a W or a Q early levels on the wave to fuck with them. Max third skill on Jakiro for tower pressure. The big part of that hero is that you're oppressive as fuck in lane, and then you can transition to building pressure. And then post lane, just don't give as many kills on everybody across the board. There were many opportunities to like think about the fact that there's an enemy there, and if they can kill you, they're going to kill you. Especially on pose 1. If they say if your whole team TPs across the map and they know you're playing around there, it's probably wise to back up until your teammates are once again there to back you up. And running in further by yourself when they have heroes alive that can kill you is probably spooky. Or at the very least, only do it if you have vision and you can like see. Like if you get smoked on, it's still rough, but like at least like there's some excuse. But yeah, use play around the vision. I think at one point there was a comment from the Gyro when I was like, we should have defended top tower on Gyro, like all Brood had was a pipe, and the answer was like, yes, I didn't realize Brood only had pipe. I'm used to Broods having damage, in which case it's like, for all of us. I mean, I do this as well. Click on your enemies, click on your allies. You should know at all points what they're building and what that means for the game. You should even know when they're nearer to an item based on just general farming timings, which is a bit more high level. But like, you should have an idea. Like if it's a tiny rushing blink dagger and their lane was fine mid, you know that they'll have it around like somewhere between 11 and 14 minutes, depending on how good their game is. Shit like that. Just use the brain and think about what you can do and your limits. Think about what your role is in the game. For Gyro, his role was to farm and to delay the brood. Phoenix and the supports were meant to be aggressively positioned. I'm supposed to farm and aggressively position. And yeah, stuff like that. I'm not gonna make this a 12-hour replay analysis, every roll, every lane, every minute at this point, but no, it's a general thing about some of the bigger things that went wrong this game and where we could improve. Thanks for watching.